Our live streaming in 3, 2, 1.
Good evening and welcome back to the Hendrick Hudson Board of Education meeting. Tonight is January 7th, 2026. May everyone please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We are located at the Hendrick Hudson High School cafeteria, and Mr. Tremblay will just let us know our emergency exits.
Sure. Thank you for joining us this evening. In case of an emergency that would require us to evacuate, please utilize the glass doors on my left, your right if you're in the audience. Go through the metal gates and gather on the grass area near the parking lot. And you can also find our emergency procedures posted on the walls of this room and on our website. So we just want to make sure that everybody is safe before we begin the meeting.
Thank you for that. May I ask for a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda. Second.
All in favor? And that brings us to the most important part of our night, our recognition.
Yes.
Turn back over to Mr. Tremblay.
We apologize for being a few minutes late coming back from the winter recess, the holiday recess, excuse me. We had a little bit of housekeeping to do, so we apologize for keeping everybody waiting, especially some of our partners, which we'll talk about, and our student recognition this evening, Ms. Sophia Jones. We do have other members in the audience who are working on their National Junior Honor Society community service hours, so we're happy that you're participating in this display of our democratic process, so thank you for being here. We hope you learn a lot. And I offered to sign your forms, but Dr. Tor will beat me to it, so you have that right there, sir. This evening, for our student recognition, we are recognizing Hendrick Hudson's Putnam Northern Westchester BOCES Student of Distinction. Hendrick Hudson Central School District and Putnam Northern Westchester BOCES share a strong partnership and value partnership and a shared commitment to supporting students throughout their educational journey. This evening, we're pleased to welcome our partners from PMW BOCES, District Superintendent Neil Boyle, Career Academy Principal Dan Gannon, our CTE teacher Aaron Armentizo, and our Communication Specialist Mr. Josh Thompson, as we recognize Hendrick Hudson High School student Sophia Jones. And Sophia is joined by her parents and her grandmother this evening. And this time, I am pleased to introduce our partner and the District Superintendent for PMW BOCES, Mr. Neil Boyle, to the podium.
Thank you, Mr. Tremblay. It's always great when we have opportunities to come present, but on behalf of the BOCES board, we always thank you for your partnership and collaboration. I'd also like to thank Mr. Tremblay for all of his efforts as long as he's been in this seat. It's been an incredible partnership and we thrive. What's unique about tonight, though, is that we share Sophia. So a lot of times as the BOCES, we recognize students that are with us full day. So we can't take all the credit tonight. This is a joint, shared celebration. So your values and dedication to making sure pathways for success exist is our mission statement. So we want to make sure that through our partnership, we create these opportunities and pathways for students to thrive. So Sophia, your accomplishment stands as a testament to your hard work, dedication, and the high standards held by Hendrick Hudson and PMW BOCES. While you're surrounded by an outstanding support network, the credit belongs to you and you alone. So you're the one that takes the initiative and the effort to come to us every day, and we thank you for sharing your educational journey with us. We also appreciate your parents and your family support network as being part of that journey. So we congratulate you. We look forward to what comes next in your career, and we know you have a couple options. She's been accepted to some very exceptional higher levels of institution. So we wish you all the best, and we look forward to the next couple months we get to spend with you. I'd like to now invite Dan Gannon, the Career Academy Principal, to say a few more words.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sophia. Thank you to her family. This is pretty easy for me. Sophia is a phenomenal young woman, and we're so happy to have her at BOCES. She's a model student. She's consistently been the first to volunteer for work-based learning opportunities during her time in graphic design and digital photography. She has taken phenomenal photographs for several important events on campus and received praise for both her work and professionalism. Sophia is also a role model and continues to set high standards for her peers. She's an active Skills USA student and has participated in the organization's competitions. She aspires to high levels of achievement and fosters a professional attitude that make her stand out. She is always looking to make her work better. We know she will go far in her field because of her work ethic, talent, and positive attitude. Congratulations, Sophia. Mr. Armistead, you can come up for a second and present our certification to Sophia.
Now, we already had our pictures with Sophia. We'd love an opportunity to have the board and the admin take a picture with Sophia and her family as well.
So I'll ask the entire governance team to join Sophia and her parents and her grandmother. Would you mind joining us in a picture as well, too? So we'll have everybody stand by the podium and take a picture as the board is transitioning. Sophia, just want to say thank you for representing Hendrick Hudson High School and our school district so well. Thank you for your dedication to your studies, your passion for a possible career that you're going into, and thank you for being a student here and representing us so well. So thank you again. And I do need board that will be the only medal that we give out tonight. I'm sorry. Please join me. I know it's more people than normal, but we also have Josh here who has a wide angle lens.
Josh is here.
Josh, do you want this in front?
Yeah, maybe. That's great. Let's do it around. Yeah, around. And Sophia, why don't you stand? Why don't you stand here?
Greg. Is there anywhere to plug this in? Jill, 6. Back there's a plug. We could just plug it in.
There you go. That was awesome.
I always say no. Yeah, here.
Sophia, how do you do it? Thank you.
Somewhere it'll be all over the Instagrams.
Right,
So at this time, we invite our partners and our student, Sophia. You're more than welcome to leave, or you can stay and watch the rest of the thrilling morning. Thank you. So as we transition, I will turn it over back to you, President.
Okay, at this time, on our agenda, we have our audience comments on non-agenda items. Carmen, do we have anybody here?
We do not.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, we get to our presentations, and the first one on the agenda tonight is our curriculum mid-year updates.
So thank you, President Silverman. When we began the school year, we discussed having multiple opportunities to update our community and the board on our progress towards stated goals. This evening, we have a series of presentations that continues those efforts. If you recall, we had an initial discussion on the development of the district goals and how we would be pursuing those. I will be providing a brief presentation on that after Dr. Lauren Scollins and some of our building principals present an update on curriculum-related goals and objectives that the district has been engaged in and working on. So I will ask Dr. Scollins, joined by a number of our building principals, to come to the podium to begin the presentation. And then I will follow up with that presentation on some larger district-related goals, and then we will turn it over to the Board of Education, who may provide an update on their pursuit of their yearly goals. So Dr. Lawrence-Collins, thank you for arranging this presentation, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. So as I mentioned in November, we wanted to come back halfway through our year and touch on some of the data points that we discussed earlier in November, as well as some of the data that was released, like the state, not the statewide data, but the local lyric data that we could update so we could see how our students performed across the region. And then at this time, I am excited that our principals are here this evening to provide a brief update on how this data is working and used, as well as informing their goals and their progress towards their goals this year. So shortly I will introduce them, as well as each of them will take an opportunity to talk a little bit about their goals. So we'll cycle through. We have our mission, and then of course our actions for the future, because part of our instructional excellence is evident here tonight as we set goals and look towards action steps for achieving. On this slide, our curriculum mid-year update slide, the first link, I'm not going to dig into this link in the Canva presentation, but I will draw your attention to a few pieces and then discuss some of our points of pride as well as areas for continued growth based on that presentation. We did add, after at the November board meeting, attendance data that we talked about at each of our different levels last year as well as for this school year, alongside enrollment. There were also some of our data. There was, I think we had to clarify, Benita, right, about our region scores. So some years encompassed our region's scores for June, August, and January. And then some of the other years did not include that, or there may have not been students who took that during those years. So we did clarify, there's a clarifier on that to make sure that our data, when we presented it over multiple years, was relevant to which month we were testing students in. So those were a few key pieces, as well as when the state unencumbered the data, we were able to see where our students performed across the Lower Hudson region. So a couple of points of pride that I did want to highlight, and I know we talked a little bit about, but we can talk a little bit more about, specifically is our elementary ELA. We did see an improvement in that, which is exciting. As we know, we did have 1 year of HMH into reading under our belt. So I'm excited to see how this continues to improve and how it continues to move through our grade levels at elementary and then into middle school as we grow more familiar with that program. Our grade 3 math proficiency did exceed the regional average, which is an exciting marker. We had notable gains in our 5th and 6th grade ELA scores. We do have consistent graduation requirements met. And that our refusal rate is in line with regional norms for that 3-3 testing. We know that there was a uptick in our refusal rates, and now we're back down to our regional norm. Some areas for continued growth is our math proficiency. I'm excited this year that we are working once again with our math coach and Sharon Foreman, one of our math consultants in the region, to ensure that we are vertically aligning our math curriculum at our middle school and our 3 through 5, so we have that continued growth. ELA is also an area of focus in that 7th and 8th grade, and looking at our texts and how we're strengthening instruction to support reading and writing now that we have a really strong foundation in our K through 5 program. Absenteeism is always something of concern, and digging into the reasons why we have students who don't want to come to school or can't come to school. And this year, with the help recently of a new position at the high school, the acting administrator for student services, she's been taking some time to dig into patterns and specific times of day, as well as classes with elevated absenteeism. And then really looking at how we're progress monitoring and coordinating all the supports for our students is an area of continued growth, and as we've presented on this year, our MTSS process is something that we've revamped for the year, and I'm excited to see how that makes progress this year. I will end our presentation on some next steps about coordinated supports and progress monitoring. But I'm so excited. 4 of our 5 building principals are here this evening. Mr. Cohen couldn't join us this evening, but Dr. Kramer is here to talk a little bit about our K-2 buildings. Ms. Anicia McGill is here for our 3, 4, 5 building, Dr. Toro, and then Ms. Martino Alves, who will be representing the middle school and high school respectively.
Okay, good evening. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Happy New Year. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things that we're doing at both BB and Purvis Woods. Obviously, there are differences between the building, but we try to stay aligned and make sure that we're on the same page with regard to curriculum and the procedures and protocols that we have in place with our staff. So differentiation is kind of our overarching goal. We always want to make sure we're differentiating so that we're meeting the needs of every student. And one of the ways we're doing that this year that's new is our WIN block. So WIN stands for What I Need. And this is a time, we have a half hour for ELA and a half hour for math. And this is a time when the teachers really look at the data and dig down to see what each small group of students needs in order to make sure that they're being successful. So it might include reteaching or reviewing a strategy that's already been taught. It might include practicing a skill to just kind of fine-tune that strategy, or it might be a group who's working together to take something to the next level and be challenged, like a book club, where they're reading a book that's at a higher level, above grade level, that they wouldn't normally read during regular ELA time. The coaches are supporting the WIN initiative, the ELA coach and the math coach. They are providing sometimes small group instruction during the WIN blocks, or meeting with teachers to provide resources or discuss different ways to differentiate and support the students. So they're a great resource for us as far as differentiation and also within the WIN structure. And our data meetings support this as well. So we have data meetings with our ELA coaches about once a month and also with our math coaches about once a month. And I'm there, the AIS, either reading or math teachers are there. So we're the classroom teachers, so we can really look at how each student's progressing and whether the support that they're receiving is appropriate, whether they need more or less, and how we can best support them. Going along with the data meetings, we have weekly grade level meetings, so that would be when the principals meet with the grade level teachers and talk about trends that they're seeing. They might talk about where we are in the curriculum and how we're moving forward. We might talk about some students that we're a little concerned about, we're keeping an eye on, and we might want to bring them up at the next data meeting. So lots of collaboration going on to make sure that we are differentiating for all of the students all the time. MTSS is our multi-tiered support system, and this is a big piece of making sure we differentiate as well and meet the needs of all students. So students that teachers might have a concern about, whether it's academically, social, emotionally, or behaviorally, we'll bring to the weekly MTSS meeting, and there's a whole team of support staff from the building there to talk about the needs of the students and how we can best support them. Into Reading is in its second year, as Dr. Scollins mentioned, and we have monthly meetings with the grade level leaders and the coaches, or the literacy coach, to make sure that we're on the same page between the 2 buildings. Our goal, as I mentioned, is always to make sure we're in alignment and make sure that the kids are having a similar experience. So the teachers collaborate, they share concerns with the coaches and the reading teachers, and we try to work those out as a team across the 2 buildings. So that's what we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kramer. I will say I have shared with all of our team that Dr. Kramer's MTSS meetings and weekly grade level meetings are so focused and well run and data centered, and when you walk into the meeting, you may not know the child, but you walk out knowing everything about that child and the goal that is set for that child in order for them to continue their progress. So it's a really a wonderful experience to be a part of those. So Ms. McGill will talk a little bit about FGL.
Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year again. So the overarching theme is differentiation, and some of this may be a little repetitive because we're trying to stay aligned, but one of the things that we want to do is arm teachers with resources and time, because both of these things are going to support differentiation. I'm trying to use our faculty meetings as PD time, so I was able this month to work with our math coach, and she developed a module for the teachers where they learned about a program that will help promote math fluency with the facts. So in about 20 minutes, she went over that with all the teachers, and then she gave them some time to talk amongst themselves. The coaches have been really instrumental in helping to support the math and the ELA curricula. They have websites that they created that teachers can delve into to find data about how all the students are doing on the module assessments. Without going into the actual HMH website, they have quick links that they can use so they can access this data so that they spend more time planning the lessons and not so much trying to figure out where things are as far as resources. They also use this data and they meet with the teachers to help plan WIN activities as well as classroom activities. So they will look at the data, look at maybe a prevalent question that students got wrong, and then work with the teachers on how best to reteach that particular skill and in there. The data, as I said, is constantly used by both of the coaches. They use it to help them to form their small groups. They use it to help them guide their instruction during the day. Our math coach actually does teach some of the WIN courses, and the teachers make sure during WIN not just to help students with challenges, but the students who are excelling to give them activities so that they can continue to grow. Our MTSS meetings are also designed to help recognize the strengths that students have as well as how we can support the students. So we have tier meetings, because I'm a nerd that way, so I wanted to do tier meetings because we have 3 tiers in MTSS. So the tier meetings, I meet with half of the school every week. So every other week I see all the teachers, and they're wonderful. We sit, we look at students where we may be concerned. Everybody serves as a resource for those meetings. If it is that we feel that we need some more expertise, we then look at bringing that student to MTSS where we have the content area specialists, and then they help set up goals and to monitor those goals for the students. So every week we have an MTSS meeting. Every week we have these tier meetings where we discuss students and their needs. I'm looking in the future to incorporate a data time with that, but currently, because the teachers do have limited preps, I'm trying not to take too much of their time so that they have time to do what they need to do and collaborate with their peers. We're also, because I happen to know Dr. Toro, because I work with him before I went over to FGL, we're collaborating, and he's going to talk more about this, so I don't want to steal his thunder, but we're collaborating in order to make sure that there's an alignment in math 3 through 8, and we're going to be continuing that work this Thursday. He'll tell you more about that. We have an event planned for all of those teachers. Thank you. And with that, I bet you here.
So maybe I'll ask Dr. Pearl comes up to the podium. I just want to highlight what you touched on is the vertical alignment and our focus on aligning our programs so that the experience is similar and relevant for all students as we progress through the system, and they can see that each of their experiences build from one year to the next, no matter where they fall within our system. So thank you for highlighting that. And Dr. Toro.
Hello everyone. I can't read that. I have to bring it up on my phone. Good evening everyone. I'm Mr. Trombley, Board of Education, Assistant Superintendent's Director, and families here. To touch a little bit on what's going on at Blue Mountain Middle School, a lot of wonderful things. To start off with, when I first came to Blue Mountain Middle School, I was trying to see what courses we have available. I was looking for a course catalog where everything was organized and show the programs that we have. So thank you, Dr. Scollins, for sharing with me the work that she started when she was the middle school principal. We took her course catalog, we expanded it, we built it, and we published it just a few weeks ago, and it's on the website, so please I encourage you to take a look at it. And the point of having a course catalog is so that we open ourselves up to transparency, that we see what we offer, what the holes are, what are some of the great things that we have and great offerings. So we did create a very robust course catalog. To further support curriculum and pedagogy, I want to thank Anthony Merlini for allowing me to use his budget to furnish 4 classrooms with collaborative furniture so that we can encourage more collaborative learning. Oh, thank you. Oh, much better. Oh, yeah. To support collaborative learning. So hopefully within the next few weeks, we're going to have 4 sets of classroom furniture that will be supporting collaborative learning spaces where students are engaged in project-based learning, discussions, and all those types of skills. Professional learning, we are doing, working with our E&L consultant, currently doing some curriculum writing and developing some pedagogical skills, as well as working with Sharon Froman in regards to our math alignment, and I'm going to go a little bit more into that in a second. In regards to further professional development, I believe faculty meetings are a wonderful time in which we have all our staff gathered, and anything that I can send in an email really is just an email. So we use our faculty meetings for professional development. So over the course of this school year since we first started, we've had faculty meetings circled around using AI in the classroom, co-teaching models, station rotation models. We're going to be having a co-planning professional development next month. Also, we have the mental health awareness and responses professional development, and later in the school year, we'll be doing a blended learning professional development with our staff. All that during our faculty meetings. Started off by Ms. McGill when she was working with me. She started off our PBIS initiative, where working with Putnam, with OCs, we send many of our teachers over there to start training in PBIS and developing a system for us that works at Blue Mountain Middle School. And at this point, Ms. Pearson is taking that over and working with that. And our goal is to connect that to our MTSS process, because our PBS can feed directly into the MTSS process. So we're working on that, and hopefully by the end of the year, we have that flushed out. Discussing the ongoing alignment between FGL and the high school, Dr. Scollins mentioned it before. We are working with our math consultant, and this Thursday we have our 5th grade math teachers working with our 7th grade math teachers, our 6th grade teachers working with our 8th grade teachers. And the reason for that gap is so that our teachers can see what they have to get to at some point. You know, when there's one grade to the next grade, you know, it's a smaller jump. But when you have a larger jump, you kind of just start thinking a little bit more, okay, what do I have to do to get my students prepared for that? So we're doing a session with that. And our previous session with our consultant was also similar, where our math teachers worked with the FGL teachers. Also too, with Dr. Scollins and Lisa, we are looking into doing intervisitations between the high school and the middle school, to send some of our teachers up, send some of our teachers down. So again, we can take a look at alignment, best practices, things like that, because a lot of the solutions are already within this district. We just have to have our resources. I'm going to, in regards to our partnerships, we have some wonderful things going on with the PTA and the SEPTA. I just want to thank our PTA and our SEPTA parents, because our PTA is supporting our curriculum in other ways, which they did a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful book fair for the first time they've had in many, many years. As well, they've written us many grants that help support some of the things at the school. For example, they supported our gym program, our phys ed department, in purchasing brand new flag football gear. Our SEPTA parents just recently provided us items for our SEL room, which we'll be updating very shortly, and we're excited to have it for our social emotional learning. So with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to the high school.
Thank you, Dr. Farrar, and thank you for commenting about the professional development, which is also a big focus of making sure that we are using our time wisely to ensure that we are focusing on quality instruction. And I know that Ms. Martino-Aldez is going to talk a little bit about that and the exciting work we have going on at the high school as well.
Good evening. Thank you. Yes, the microphone needs to come down. Thank you, Dr. Thank you. It's wonderful to see you all. Happy New Year. Happy 2026. It is a really exciting time to be at Hendrick Hudson High School. There are some really amazing learning opportunities that are being crafted by teachers as we're working together this school year. To continue, though, from some of my colleagues, I want to just point out that MTSS does continue into the high school, so we do look at where students are needing additional supports and providing plans for supporting them as they move and really transition from middle school all the way through to become the graduates that we send off. But some of the really exciting things in the high school really revolve around our planned pilot work. We are a proud planned pilot school. Our school agreed to take on this challenge, which really is a challenge. It is a step forward in looking at the future of learning and the future of our graduates. New York State has finalized and implemented the New York State Portrait of a Graduate, and that is what our work is deeply embedded into. Plan Pilot we've created a really robust Plan Pilot committee of teachers and subcommittees of teachers, really working on performance-based learning and assessments. That's the PBLA. Continuing on, Dr. Toro mentioned project-based learning and in the middle school, and that is really going to flourish in the high school. New York State has asked us to look beyond academic preparedness for our graduates and look to additional attributes. And it's the work of our school and our high school and our district to really look at how are we providing opportunities for students to build upon these attributes and have opportunities to grow and reflect across their years in high school. We are capturing these moments in a digital portfolio. So we have a subcommittee of teachers who are really excited about how do we capture these really interesting learning experiences that students are doing beyond a test, beyond just a photograph of a project, but how can we really have students capture their learning from 9th grade all the way through 12th grade, and for them to reflect upon that learning and demonstrate their growth, along with the help of our tech team. Thanks so much, Ms. Joy. We are also exploring in a subcommittee real-world learning experiences for our seniors and looking at the possibility of our seniors engaging in internships and work-based learning experiences beyond the classroom. And we know that those experiences really enliven the learning experience for our students to go beyond the classroom in learning professionalism and learning all of those traits in terms of communicating who they are and showing up each day as a professional beyond their student kind of hat that they wear. We are also exploring interdisciplinary learning in the high school. We have several teachers who have proposed adding some additional courses and adjusting some courses in our course catalog that really builds upon our that learning is not just within our departments and in one discipline, but it crosses between our arts and our music and our math and science and so on. And this is happening through an experience for our teachers, which is new this year, is professional learning communities. So for a long time, teachers have worked together in departments that are based in their discipline. So they'll work in their social studies department, their math department, and we're trying to encourage teachers to really branch out across the school and looking at how learning is connected. We want to make that learning explicit for our students, and so teachers working together across disciplines is really integral to that. So we're doing that in faculty meetings, and teachers are working across departments and learning as a critical friends group as they implement. And as the Plan Pilot, we are in the stage of exploring, integrating these assessments and these performance-based learning experiences in all of our classrooms, but to take that learning from the teachers and bring it into the faculty meetings where they can share those experiences, learn and grow from them as their own, as learners themselves, to help enrich the type of programming that we have available to our students. So this is what we're working on, the Plan Pilot, and we're really excited to see how this rolls out over the course of the year and the next coming years to really be sure that our graduates are ready for what the future looks like. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have a lot of really exciting work happening in each of our buildings. In our next steps, we obviously will be continuing continue to progress monitoring, and we do have, as you have heard, a giant focus on our MTSS process this year. Mr. Moreno and I have spent time in each of the buildings, at each of the MTSS meetings, and ensured that we are using that data to make sure we meet students wherever they are and move them forward. I anticipate sharing our end-of-year data where we are with our iReady scores, as well as some of our HMH benchmark data at the end of this school year. And two other areas that I want to point out, which I have taken a lot of time from Ms. Joy and Mr. Moreno this week, as well as some of our principals, is part of our curriculum committee work. So in addition to, as Dr. Toro mentioned, starting new curriculum and revising curriculum, and as Ms. Martina Alves mentioned, thinking about how we assess, one of the things our curriculum committee has been looking at is our universal screener and how do we identify students and what are we doing to capture that data and use that data. All of our students in our K-8 program or 2-8 program are currently taking an iReady assessment 3 times a year. And that iReady assessment gives us some data about where our students are performing and helps us craft a program for them. There was initiative by the curriculum committee to explore other options that are out there. So yesterday, my colleagues and I, as well as a large subcommittee from our very large curriculum committee this year, attended 2 sessions where we learned a little bit about other universal screeners and different points of data that we could be collecting. And I anticipate that we'll be sharing more after the curriculum committee meets to discuss those. There is also an incredible focus this year on aligned professional development in our K-12 system. So we've heard a lot about our vertical alignment and our principals working so well together. But I do just want to highlight that through the work of our professional development committee, our teachers are also working vertically to see what our system looks like. Kindergarten teachers meeting with senior English teachers and really digging into what is that student who is the portrait of our graduate when they walk out. It is not just what they learned in high school as a high school graduate. They are a graduate of our system, and we are all a part of that experience. So while we have a lot of work to do, it has been incredible with this team, so thank you principals for being a part of that and leading this work.
Any questions for Dr. Scollins before we transition? I want to say thank you, Dr. Scollins, and for leading the efforts, and for our principals for sharing some of the wonderful work going on in the buildings. And I always want to give specific feedback. I want to thank you for your intentionality on 2 fronts. First of all, your intentionality. This is a mid-year goal update, and what better way to remind our community and the board that we are an institution of learning. Our job not only to keep students safe and return them back to their parents or guardians at the end of the day in at least the same condition, if not better, that they came to us, but we are here to educate students. And so the intentionality of focusing our mid-year updates on instructional components for the board to hear and the community to hear. Also the intentionality of these structures and systems in place that have been progressing under the leadership of the team here tonight, not only to include Dr. Scollins, Mr. Moreno, Ms. Joy, Ms. Figueroa, but also our building leaderships who are key components of those structures to make sure that the work is happening day to day. Also, the focus on data as a part of how we are sharing the information to support the progress towards the goals. So I'm a social studies teacher. I have to use quotes. I think Albert Einstein, I didn't know I would be quoting Albert Einstein today, but I'll get it out there. I think it's Albert Einstein who can be attributed to saying that not everything that can be counted counts, and not everything that counts can be counted. So we often say that we have to use data to make decisions. I think that that's a cliche that we need to add to that. Data-driven decisions are the ones that count. Well, data can always tell a story, and that story always depends upon how it's presented. And that is why context to any data presentation or any data that you view is key. And the individuals here tonight are those individuals who can provide that context. Many of the basic data points that we have in terms of student growth and achievement are publicly available information, which is highly important and a good approach to being transparent. But the numbers alone tell different stories depending upon how they are interpreted or presented. Without context, publicly available data can sometimes lead to misunderstanding or incomplete conclusions. I strongly encourage anyone with questions about data that they view to engage directly with our administrators. As they've shown you tonight, not only do they know the data that's there, they know the programs that support that data and the students that that data helps to tell a story about. They stand ready to provide context, clarity, and support and understanding what the data truly reflects about our students and our schools. So this open dialogue and shared understanding ensures that the data serves its intended purpose, informing thoughtful discussion and guiding continuous improvement to the benefit of all students. So I want to thank again Dr. Scollins and our principals for joining us tonight. You're more than welcome to stay to see my portion of the presentation, but yours was the most important part. But thank you for taking time away from your families this evening. While we transition to my presentation, and Greg will pull that up, because it is a continuation. We led with instructional updates on a number of the goals, and you'll see me touch on that there. I do want to take a moment, the social studies teacher in me wants to address our students who have chosen to attend this evening to gain community service hours. The board meeting you're watching, just as an understanding of what it is, the Board of Education. Okay. So I will say this into the record so you can watch it afterwards as well. But the Board of Education meeting that you're watching serves a purpose of the board conducting its meeting in public. And that is one of the components of our democratic republic. And I often say the Board of Education is, this is what the Board of Education is often the lowest form of participation in a democratic republic that somebody can have. You're representing direct components of your community. Dr. Toro, make sure if they have questions about the board meeting, they watch this part because I'm explaining it right now. Thank you. And then you can sign off on the form. Yes, so the Board of Education is conducting its business in public, and that is where the transparency of this governing board takes place. A Board of Education has a few roles that they are authorized to have. That's to set policy, which you'll see later on in the meeting. That is to have general overall guidance of the in direction of the school district. So you'll see that in terms of some of the work we're doing tonight, such as goal setting, following up on goals, fiduciary responsibility, that's when we talk about our budgets. They adopt a budget for community approval, and they also hire, hopefully retain for a very long time, and evaluate the superintendent. So those are the components of a board meeting for our National Honor Society members who just left. To recap, when they do the extra hours that can be associated with this. So
There will be a test.
there will be a test, yes. Greg, thank you for transitioning to my update, and to continue on with Dr. Scollins and our principal's updates. My update will be a larger district level approach to some of the district goals that we are pursuing this year. We always begin with our mission. And in terms of our administrative actions for the future this year, this update is aligned to all aspects of that. We want to make sure that we are communicating our progress towards agreed upon actions. We want to build trust in our community by following through on things that we are going to do what we say we're going to do. Most of what we do in terms of achieving our goals is done through collaborative processes. Instructional excellence is at the heart of all of our progression towards our goals. And then we want to focus on the future. And by achieving goals, you are inherently engaged in a continuous cycle of improvement. And that's that future-ready focus that you have there. So as you can see, our presentation's objectives are to provide an update to the board on district progress towards previously stated goals. Before we begin on the next slide, I want to make sure we highlight that we don't confuse activity with accomplishment. And so John Wooden, if you're a college basketball fan, was widely regarded as one of the greatest coaches and leaders of the 20th century. He led the UCLA men's basketball program to 10 national championships in 12 years. Beyond those wins and losses, Wooden was known for his emphasis on disciplined preparation, integrity, and results grounded in daily work. One of his most enduring reminders is embodied in the quote that I just read. That principle provides an important frame for this evening's update, and when we look at all of our goals. Our shared goals document, which we link to on this slide here in the red link, is a live document, and while it will never be fully updated at one point in time until it's at the end of the year because we are continuously progressing towards our goals, it is refreshed at any time. meaning our administrators are deeply engaged in accomplishing the work that these goals represent, as you just heard from Dr. Scollins and our principal's presentations, and I'll highlight some of that further, where they prioritize meaningful action and impact over the documentation of that. This evening, I will highlight several key areas where that work is actively occurring and where meaningful progress is being made. And looking ahead at our January 2026 administrative team meeting, which will occur next week, we will have dedicated time as an administrative team to gather, formally codify and align and continue to make sure our work is aligned and to update that shared goals document. So often, when we take part in that activity as an administrative team, the most difficult thing to do is to have our colleagues identify where they're making progress towards their goals. Because they're living so much in the work that they do day to day, they often fail to recognize where they are making progress towards those goals. So we take formal time as a team to work with each other to say, hey, you may not think that you progressed towards that goal, but here's the evidence that I've seen you work towards that. So that work will occur next week. If we go to the next slide and we talk about focused updates, as you can see, much of what Dr. Scollins and our principal's presentation focused on was the shared goal across every program. Every administrator had a shared goal of supporting the implementation of our multi-tiered systems of support process. So not only do you have Dr. Scollins and Mr. Moreno going into every single MTSS meeting that's not just showing that they are supportive of that goal, but it's ensuring cohesiveness and alignment with our process that we've all agreed upon. And so you have two cabinet-level administrators supporting our building-level administrators in doing this work to make sure that what's happening in one building, when it's what we've agreed upon, is actually happening in all the buildings. And if we identify a need for change, there's a systemic and systematic process into implementing that change for sustainability purposes. So as you just saw in that presentation, a lot of our effort, and as you saw in a previous iteration of a presentation we gave earlier in the fall, we are spending a lot of our time, talents, and treasure on ensuring that our students have a high-quality, multi-tiered systems of support system in place. If that makes sense. Also, we want to update you. One of my individual goals for this year is to implement a parent university. There will be communications coming from my office in the near future about what that parent university will look like. And the whole purpose behind that is to help provide a home school connection to how we can support our students in development of the whole child as they progress through our school system. I'm developing those sessions, which will be in the evening. We do not have availability at the Hendrick Hudson Library because they are such an active part of the community, so we will most likely host them here in the high school. And the university, those sessions, which will be in the evening and we'll make sure that we videotape, will center around the 7 habits of highly effective people, adjusted for student-level teenagers, so that parents can have an understanding of how they can support the development of those habits within their family members at home. And we'll talk about some of the connections that will be available for them, not only as resources, but also what's occurring in our schools that can help continue to support those developments. A major component of our goal this year is we have 3 labor unions that have contracts that are coming due at the end of June this year. So a lot of our time is focused on working on those collective negotiations and coming to fair and reasonable agreements with those units. And at the same time, a high laser focus on developing a budget that we hope the community will be willing to support when we present it in the spring. So those are some of the main areas in the first half of the year that we've already been working on with a lot of our time and energy to address. What are our next steps in terms of the overall goal document is live and it's available on our website. And I would urge people, because our administrators update that as we, and our department heads update that as they progress towards their goals. But the work is continuous. So if you go into that document today, it may look totally different tomorrow. As I mentioned before, next week we will meet as an administrative team now that the holiday has passed and we've had the first quasi-half of the academic year under our belt. We will take time as an administrative team to work together to update formally. The next public update will be in June of this year, but again, that document is live, and while it may not be fun to read, it does codify the work that's actually being done And that final update of the year will be a formal, detailed update on the progress there. As I said, that document does reflect live updates for the meeting. And that is the presentation. Are there any questions that I may yield to at this time? Sure.
Hello. Just thank you for your presentation. And in terms of what we can do as a community to sort of keep up on like the progress that you guys are making, that we're all making as a community, what would you recommend in terms of like if I'm interested in maybe not going to the shared document that you talked about, which may be like a little more information than I can handle at one time or whatever. Are there data points that you're collecting? Is there a place on the website that people can go to sort of check in and see? Like you guys are, you know, there's a lot of new staff in place. There's the MTSS meetings that they're both going to that have improved. Is there a way to measure that, to share that success with the community and in a way that's like easily digestible?
So the main way that we will share progress towards our goals are through updates such as this, but also referring people to that live document. That's a way that we can continue to work on goals rather than spending an inordinate amount of time documenting that. Probably the easiest way is to reach out to an administrator or the department head of the area that there's a question about, to say, I know that I'm wondering if you're working on this, and to what extent are you working on that? That's probably, as we said before, when it comes down to providing context to data points, we can put up all the data points you want, but there is further context to it that our administrative team and the people actually working on those goals and overseeing those goals should be able to provide to that, so that there's a true understanding of what's occurring.
Got it. Thank you.
Yes, I know that's a large document. So it may be easier to ask a question, but if it's about a specific goal, I don't think members of our community have memorized the goals, but they probably have a few goals that they're really interested in. They can reach out and say, hey, I'm really interested in how you're progressing towards X. Could you please give me some context?
Or even more general of like how you know, the community is receiving the better coverage at the MTSS meetings, or I mean the district is just sort of putting an exclamation point on the things that you're talking about making progress in a way that we can sort of, you know, people can see it rather than calling, because a lot of people don't like to call, I guess.
So that's why we also made sure that we had like an entire presentation devoted to what we were doing.
Right.
So
and these presentations
are available on our YouTube channel and still on the Diligent community.
Right. Cool. That's good to know.
Type is just very simple.
Yeah, of course. Again, when we introduce that document, we want to say that that's really our administrator's document, but you're seeing what they're working on.
I know, I'm a designer. I look at this and I'm like, ooh. So I think Corey is the same. Like, we're a visual, like, communication design major, right? Like, that's what I do. So it's kind of, I think to Corey's point, like, it's a lot to digest, respectfully, like, completely understand that. And there's a lot of things that have been updated. There's a lot of work that's happening, but it is very hard to read in this form. Is that, I mean,
I'm not being critical necessarily of this, because I understand that that's the working document. I just, you know, I think my other people included have a short attention span, and if there were a more quick visual way, like, and it probably is like reading your presentation, you know, and just knowing easily to go on to like giving that information out, sending the link out maybe to people to see your presentation rather than sending it to them.
I'm wondering if, and Carmen, I guess this is something we can maybe explore, and I know we were thinking about it, Diligent on that little thing we were talking about where we were going to put the board goals and then like put criteria and then like, do that update. I wonder, we just have to like, get more training and professional development on that. But that might be a good spot to not only just do the board goals, but and I know there's a lot of district goals, but maybe we take, like maybe every couple of weeks we focus on like
updates from the meeting, and this is what we discussed. Just the
Maybe
mid-year
we can
progress.
put something in that little sidebar,
Yeah.
we can explore how to do
Yeah.
that. And when I say we, I mean my digital graphic designers. I mean, the ones who this is their expertise, because I am not about pretty.
Yeah, and that's really what I'm saying, is like, how can we help with the
Yeah.
technology we have, provide the public with a simpler way to see the progress that we're making, rather than us having to
That'd be
tell them.
one of your jobs.
So other things to
I've
consider,
already taken
because
it on.
we're always cognizant of that, trying to make sure we provide information in digestible means. And we also know that we need to celebrate what we do and to share what we do and reflect upon what we do. There's multiple exposures as well. We start next meeting in January 21st, 2020. We have our first program budget meeting where we will dive into operations and maintenance, athletics, transportation, and part of those presentations will be to share what was done with the budget funds that were approved by the community in 25, 26.
Right.
So that's another reiteration, another opportunity to find out information about
Yeah, so I would
progress.
hope that we could maybe find a good spot on Diligent to clearly share those after each one happens, and maybe include a link somewhere. I don't know how that part works, but
We've got all the budget stuff on the website already.
yeah, no, I just mean in a timely way that's like, after the meeting has taken place, like, here's the link to the presentation you just saw.
I guess if people aren't on like Diligent or anything, can we just do it on like our Facebook page where people, is that something we can do or no?
What particular part?
Like if we
The one
just-
thing linking the updates?
Yeah, I mean, I guess your emails that you send out, do people go through?
Everybody. Right?
I just think maybe like if we have it like on a Facebook link, like, hey guys, here's the meeting that we covered for the board meeting on 1/7. These were the topics, here's the link to Diligence, just to try to make them go there and look at it if we can.
Definitely get some people to.
Yeah, because I think Facebook is sort of like, maybe they'll look at it and be like, oh, let me click and see what happened.
Right.
I know we send out that email like, oh, we're having a board meeting, but like, I don't know if everybody's watching, if they're not
Or they
paying attention.
remember.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's like, hey guys, like a quick summary of like, this is what we discussed at the board meeting on 1/7. Please see the link for all the information that we talked about, and you can review things there if you want to. So it kind of gives them a second opportunity to want to get involved.
So if you've listened to any of my
Or first.
repeated phrases, one thing you'll hear me say is one thing any organization can do is always get better at communication. Here's why: preferences change, people's choices change, and how they want to consume information. So we're definitely open to exploring ways that we can continue to meet the needs of the public who'd like to be good stewards of the school district in terms of understanding what's going on. So it's definitely something we can do.
Thank you.
That concludes our presentations for this
No.
evening. Oh, I'm sorry, the administrative side of that house.
Yeah. And that brings us to keeping with the theme, looking at our 25-26 board goals and giving an update on where we are there. So just as everyone starts, we look at our mission, because that is what we are here for, to really focus on our students and making sure that we are doing what we need for them. So the objectives for our presentation are pretty similar to everyone else, looking at what our goals are, the progress towards those goals, and if there are any adjustments or what the next steps are for our goals. So the agenda will be to review them, look at any update, talk about next steps, and then if need be, any discussion and feedback. So just a reminder as to what our 4 board goals were. The first one really focuses on our facilities. The second one is our community engagement, and specifically because this is our centennial year. The third one is our budget, and the fourth one is looking at student achievement, both academically and social, emotionally. So looking at the first one, facilities. These were the checkpoint items that we had for our action items for there. One of the things I can say and I will allow for each one, members from the board to provide feedback, see what we have been doing, anything from there. We have been this year already meeting, I think we've already had a few meetings, so meeting a lot more than we have previously. And in fact, we have our next meeting tomorrow to continue to do these. updating the community, at our next board meeting, we will have another presentation on our capital project from our partners with KSQ. And we are working on creating what that 10-year facilities improvement plan would look like. And then I don't know if any other members from the facilities committee specifically would like to add anything else on. And that could be open to anyone, but I know from there, things that I think that we need to continue to work on is solidifying that 10-year plan and looking at those items. We already started to look at some of those items in those documents, and now just making that list. And I think it would be something that would be good to also make public.
So I feel like this is a huge goal. It's a lot. And do you think that we're actually going to be able to look at the policies this year?
Not all.
It's as needed.
But it was as needed. It's not all of them. It was as needed. So if there was anything that came up that we thought was outdated or needed a update on,
You would kick it over to facilities that have to do with that.
yeah. Yes.
As an example, we just began a policy exploration on electronic vehicles, electric vehicles.
The horses.
Yes.
And it might not necessarily go to, and
Surely, I've been happy to have been asked by PNW BOCES to share that policy at our next superintendent's meeting.
and it would start as a policy committee, and then it would go to, we would usually then ask Anthony to come in, and then he could get feedback from the policy committee as needed from there. But it wouldn't be going through all of them, and I think that was why this year we are working on policies, but we didn't make a specific policy board goal. We embedded that into as needed for each one.
We should bring this list to our meeting.
Yeah.
But I think we have some touch points already. We already had KSQ come in and do a presentation for us. They're going to do another one at the next meeting. I think we just need to just keep following up on those things and making sure we're just checking off those things off the list to make sure we achieve our goals that we got there.
And that presentation, the one from 1022 is on, which I think was our last one, is on our website now. So.
Yeah, and we as a board have had another update, and then that will be communicated out at tomorrow. As we finalize, within the 2 weeks, as we finalize that will be put out again. So we are trying to make sure that we are looking at all of that and then being transparent. And I love that it is now, being posted online. And then obviously we still have some work to do. There's a lot of work to do within the district, and that would be really just writing down that wish list of items. So I feel like for goal 1, halfway through the year, we've done a substantial amount. Corey?
I was only going to ask, because I'm not clear if anything on the website has been updated. We have a lot of, we talked about drone footage, like things that were shared from the capital project, all the stuff that was done over the summer.
What capital project presentations there, but not.
Right, but we were talking about like putting up stuff that the public might be interested in seeing about all the progress we made over the summer.
Wasn't there pictures on the Facebook district page that were posted about?
That's what I'm asking. I don't.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw that, or am
I believe in one of my community updates, we shared the drone footage. We can follow up with some of the.
Right, I had thought we had said because there already is a spot on the website for there to be for that stuff to live.
So if you navigate to the Hendrick Hudson Schools board website, if you click on the Board of Education, and click under Capital Projects, you'll see we put up the presentation. That would be a spot where we could provide further.
This is what's always been there.
Right, we could provide further resources related to that capital project. Would it be appropriate to spend some of the facilities committee's time on specific items they might like to see up there?
I think the next presentation from KSQ or whomever that we sort of just saw, but it's not finalized, I think once that's final, it would be good to put that there because I think community members will love to see really what's coming up.
Okay.
Which also includes what was done.
That it's on there. Yeah, with like a direct link. Yeah.
Right, because their presentations always start out with what we already did. which is a really good,
The money.
yeah.
And also that's
What we
like,
saved.
yeah, that's also good for like the Facebook blast too, right? Like,
Exactly.
after we have the meeting next week, we just attach that and say, hey guys, just in case you missed it, we talked about all the great things we were doing in our
Which I think is
facilities.
cross-posted to Instagram, if I'm not.
Yes.
I don't- yeah.
Usually not, but barely.
Yeah.
So just to provide some context there, in addition to the board's oversight, Ms. Figueroa, Mr. Merlini, myself, our construction manager, Triton, our architect, we meet monthly for our owner, architect, construction manager meetings, and we help develop the presentations that they do present to the facilities committee. So you again have that level of oversight there as well, based upon feedback that we've received as a natural structure in place to help carry out some of the wishes of what the board would like to see with communities. So the reason why you see things such as here's what we've done up to this point, here's where we stand in terms of our Gantt chart, those all come out of the work that we do during the OACA meetings.
So our second one is about strengthening our community engagement. And this year was a huge focus on the centennial year. This one, I think there's still a lot more work for us to do. As we are now in the 2026 year, and I don't recall what the date is of the centennial. May
31st, or May 30th.
May 30th.
There's a multitude of other events happening around it.
So May 30th, I think now we should start really ramping up, promoting that at our meetings, and either on social media and in our meetings. I think that we need to really highlight what the district has done for the last 100 years.
Yeah, so I think we have the committee meetings, and there's been some scheduling conflicts, but all the behind-the-scenes stuff is still going on, and I think three of us are on the committee, so.
We've been working on the gala
I know.
all the time, and
I
going to
think, just like the facilities one, I think we want to see that now being publicly.
it really needs to be, but it can't be on the three of us. Like what's
No,
going on-
no.
What is on, what's going on, what I'm doing in those meetings, what we're doing in those meetings is almost separate of what the board's responsibility.
What are you asking for?
Just same thing, like, but same thing, we're not making the videos for facilities either. We're just.
You said you want, like, we should provide updates for.
I think
I
that
don't
one
think
or
that's what this was
two
meant to be.
board members should take this on as like a responsibility, not to make decisions, but to like bring it to the group, to find, like, there's like really great stuff here, right? So hosting a board community forum, like, you put a little manpower into that and you can come up with an,
I got lost in what we're actually talking about.
how are we going to accomplish this goal?
How to publicize it?
No, how to actually
this
do
goal.
it. And I think that it's
Oh, in general, not centennial, you're talking about.
just this goal
Okay,
specifically.
sorry.
So
I thought we were
like,
talking about
there's lots of action that has to happen here, so
For
all
sure.
I'm suggesting is that one or two of us, whoever wants to do it, kind of take on the lead. Trying to come up with ways to bring people to the board meetings or host a forum. We're going to schedule meet and greets. One of those could be around centennial topics, getting information about the celebrations, or come share with us. Just come meet us. Tell us a little bit about your history here, whatever. I just think that this is a lot of manpower, and one or two people need to like spearhead this goal.
I think if we could just get like something from the committee of what they discussed, like the dates of when the events are, right? This doesn't have to be like a huge list.
Is there a
for anyone.
website? Isn't there a website?
Can I?
Yes, please.
So I think you're selling yourself short with this goal, to be honest. We've done a lot of work here. Yes, there's a lot more to do, but we are finally in 2026. So after the last few committee meetings, we have a graphic. We'll have a save the date coming out for all the events in the next week or so. There is an incredible website. And the members who are serving on subcommittees, so I've emailed the last 100 times in the last month or so, are working to put together more so that we can have these action items. Now is crunch time, so to say. But there is definitely, I think, a lot happening behind the scenes, especially with the first 3 bullet points here. And then moving forward, I think we're finally at a time where we'll be able to have some community involvement to the point where we're going to be asking the community's help at these meetings, from the movie that we're working on, from our gala and the events that will be taking place with our time capsule. So now that we are in 2026, I think we'll see more of that. And I think that it is going to be a heavy lift, and I think it's going to be, while we have people sitting on the committee, I think it's going to be a team effort to make sure that everyone in our community is involved with this, because this is such an exciting moment. But the website is there, and I think there is so much happening for sure.
And what is the website, Dr. Scoggins?
It is actually now, thanks to Vinitha, right on the top.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's actually, if you go to our district website, it's right at the very top. It's a centennial, right next to Say Something. At that black barn, so it's easily accessible.
Oh, right on the black barn.
We also, in the update that was just sent out, there was a flyer attached, and it now has the ticket prices to the gala that just went out on, I think it was Sunday or Monday.
As we get closer, maybe there should be like a pop-up. I hate those things, but it does get your attention.
Yeah, I thought about it, it's in May.
Yeah.
Kindergarten registration pop-up coming up in about,
More important.
Or maybe just put a little
After
huge
that.
around the word centennial once we get closer to it.
And maybe at every meeting when we have like a discussion about it, we talk about what's upcoming and we talk about that stuff. And then we can just put it on Facebook too and just say, hey guys, just in case you missed it, please see all these awesome things we're doing.
We probably should have an agenda item every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think that if they are having it has its own Facebook page now too, or it's going to, right? Especially, I think the whole thing is having its own Facebook page, right? And they've already started reaching out to like alumni. There's like an alumni Facebook page. I think one of the best things that can be done though is when everybody knows people from the community, especially if you know people who went here in the past, or like what I've just been trying to do is talk to people and say like, oh, we're going to need memorabilia, we're going to have these events, like you should get, like, you know, information's going to start going out, but especially,
So the email address for that is on the page,
Yeah,
right?
100 years.
Because that's what I do, is I give the email address to people that like ask me about it, or we're talking about something and it seems like something they would like to do. So I've been, and we've gotten, you know, more people that are volunteering to help.
And I know this is beyond the board scope, but I happen to work in a district that also just celebrated their centennial, and their social media was like plastered with historical things. You know, one of the first basketball teams, a picture, people that they found in the community, like people selling their stories, but it was like constant, and it's like a nice little walk down memory lane, and then the graduation had a whole special part to it. So I just want to make sure that we're celebrating
on
us.
student film.
Awesome.
We're pulling a lot of stuff together, and we're going to come together with a schedule of when we'll have certain assets ready to like post on all of those things, but like little teasers and.
We're also going to have the community, we'll have, in the next 2 weeks, our sailor students at the high school will be collecting community artifacts and inventorying them and getting them digitized so that we can include them in our events. So we will be putting out a call to the community for anyone in the community who has events, who is an alumni or has incredible pictures of the first homecoming king who Lauren met, that we will make sure we have pictures.
Can we get like everyone who ever made an Ashokan broom or something to come?
I have my fire card to give it.
So just as I said before,
Just to bring us back to our action items. I think Lauren was right when she said, when Dr. Scoggins said, we are selling ourselves short because right now we are doing one of the bullet points. We're receiving regular updates on our centennial planning. So we're actually doing it right now as we speak. But what my suggestion was, add this, we do our committee reports at the end of every meeting. Let's just make sure we add this so that, like all the other committees, we are all updated on what the committee's doing. I just don't think we really.
I think it should be its own agenda item at every meeting because it's part of our goals.
Great.
Committee
update,
the committee
part.
So we've already got that in the agenda. So just so you understand the committee structure, within the committee, there's like, I don't know, 20 or so people, more than that. We're not there as board members, we're really there as community members, like in charge of a role. So like, I'm working on the time capsule, right? Like, that's my role in there. Like, I can give you an update, but then you're leaving out all the other pieces of it. And that's where Lauren comes in, but she's not really a board member giving a committee update. We have to make it part, I think we really have to make it an agenda item.
Both put that in.
Not committee update.
You know, we have that feedback.
Right, I mean, it's semantics.
I wrote it down.
We want to just include all the
Yeah,
information.
But she's saying that
at the
the
end, it needs to-
difference, and just to summarize, we did put that down. I think we both agreed that that was a great feedback, so we put that down and we will find a way. I think what she was just saying is that to make it so now it's a presentation from not the board, and not even necessarily a presentation, but just an update that's coming from the committee, because when we do the committee reports, it's almost like a board update
That's what I'm
on the
saying.
committee
Yeah,
reports,
right.
so that's fine.
It's a board goal, though.
Yes, but we can also, like, we're like, almost like board liaisons too on these committees, so since we do know what's going on, even though it's not like a board committee, we can still give an update on what we're working on. I mean, I'm working on the gala, she's working on the
There's going
video,
to be,
we're
but my
working on
point
the
is
time
there's a
capsule.
redundancy. If we have an agenda, quick agenda update.
Also think though, to Erica's point, of putting it as an agenda item, we're now crossing off another action item because we are promoting it, because now it's going to be specifically there, something that people can refer back to on our piece there. The more we can promote this time and celebrate this time, I am, like I said, I just lived it in my work district, and it's just, it's a really big deal, and I want to make sure that we're making it a really big deal and celebrating. So it's something that we can discuss further, but I do appreciate, I added it on. So one of those things, I think that is a really great idea. And to also go with the action items here, we also discussed when we were making this goal, it's not just about the centennial, and as you said before, we can always improve our communication overall. So if you look at the last one, it's just overall strengthening our board communication and outreach. I do still think that is an area that we can continue to work on. I mean, Diligent is a new platform that we're using, not necessarily that it came, I mean, it did come from us, but not necessarily just from us. We do have more work on that to add more pieces from there. We are going to have some meet and greets that we were just finalizing dates for and getting that availability, but I do think that that is an action item that we can never fully check off, that it's always going to be a work in progress. Okay. The third one was on our budget, and we are here, ladies and gentlemen. So a lot of this stuff is going to be addressed in our upcoming, we have just essentially entered our budget season back in December. And so a lot of this I feel like will be checked off within the next couple of months, leading up to that big day in April, when we hand it over to the public.
Yes, and just as a reminder in general, so the reason why we are a governance team is because we through these updates and through our communication, you know our district goals, what we're working towards, and we as the district know the board goals. And so we look to supplement that wherever possible as well too. So it's for lack of a better term, it's a symbiotic relationship that as we work towards our goals, we keep in mind your larger goals as well too, because they should all be aligned.
Anybody have anything they want to add or that we need to revise for the third goal?
We're gonna, as we go through all of the different departments and the presentations, we're gonna easily get through all of those.
And we did actually have one in this list that was materials recently. It was about us. Okay, and then that brings us to the last one, which is monitoring student success. And I believe tonight is presentations that were done from our administrators shows that we are actively participating and getting feedback as to not only the academic piece of it, but we did hear about, some SEL and student well-being, like professional development happening and areas for there.
So as a quick reminder, and looking forward, the board has received a number of updates about work with our Northwell Health partnerships that we have in place, looking to partner with BOCES on some of their additional supports that we can take advantage of. You've had multiple data presentations on academic progress. You've had MTSS presentations. We do center a lot of our presentations around the instructional components of that. Looking forward, a lot of your action items on this goal are related to wellness. Our new athletic director, who started officially on January 1st, Mr. Von Morkey, he is going to be holding initial meetings of the Wellness Committee. We do have a revision that you might see come across the policy meeting. Carmen and I are reviewing a proposed revision by NISBA about the wellness policy in general, so we're taking a look at that. So you'll see some work and effort there. And the work of the Wellness Committee is laid out by the wellness policy. So all of these interconnected items will be coming to fruition here. Particularly, I meet with Bo monthly, as does every cabinet level administrator too, so we'll be supporting them in that way as well.
We did just have an update at our last meeting on our free lunch program, and that will continue to be updated. I know there's a lot of feedback from there, and again tonight we will be continuing to review and update our 5,000 series.
Just to add a request on the monitoring and receiving regular updates on the new free lunch program. At some point, and I'm hoping during budget season, the numbers of this come up versus participation in it last year versus this year, and how we might, do we anticipate seeing what maximum number, because we get 8 on all of this, right? So we want to I think we need to see that as part of this and our goals. I don't know if that makes sense.
I don't know, I'm trying to figure it out.
Numbers, like, so when we have free
We're maximizing
we want to make sure we're maximizing, the goal of it is to have as many kids as possible take the free and reduced lunch, right? But we want them to take the free lunch, because there's aid attached to that lunch, and that's how Ironwork's getting paid. We have to see that come to fruition, and it has to be monitored. I think Jill's put a lot of things in place for that to happen. But I think we just need, as one of our check-ins of the board, I'm asking that we see some numbers.
What are the numbers we're asking for?
Participation numbers, to make sure we're
Who's
seeing.
getting lunch? How
We
many
want to know
students
how
are
many
getting lunch?
students are taking the free lunch, and how many kids are taking
What
the free
percent of
breakfast.
students
What
are
percentage of them? To see if it's successful, you need to see how many are taking.
But we're not doing a comparison from last year to this year, we're just doing this year.
Well, we should see numbers from last year to this.
We can't. If we look at last year kids were paying for lunch.
Just high school. Everyone else wasn't. So we just need to take high school off and just do that. With that, you'd see K through 8. You wouldn't do the high school, and this year we'd say K through 12, right? And then and on each of those, based on the numbers we saw when we approved the Ironwork contract, there's a dollar amount we get from aid. That the goal is that our kids take the lunch, so that we have maximized aid to pay.
I don't know if we necessarily need to even see a comparison to last year. I think we should just focus on what we're doing this year. I will say one of the newest updates I did see was the breakfast was being posted, like the breakfast menu, because a lot of people, I think, don't know, and that was what came out of our last meeting. A lot of people don't know. I don't know if we necessarily need
I just want to see
a comparison.
I
But yes, so if we look at for this year, we can, and I think knowing, okay, this, and I think that was something that Martin was talking about doing, was looking at, okay, if our participation for this week, that menu didn't work, then let's keep what was working, let's move on. And I do hope that we see that, but I don't know if we necessarily need a comparison to last year.
I want to know what aid we got last year. We don't have that number right now.
What is the best way for community members and students specifically, who aren't necessarily sitting with Martin during lunch in all of the schools, to provide feedback about the meal, the new free lunch program? So community members who don't like the way the menu is being rolled out, kids who don't like that their spoons are getting unwrapped now,
The menu was updated.
I know, I saw that. But like, they went to, community members are going to Facebook to complain about it. What is the best route for family and community members and students to provide the feedback that we're asking for to the district about the new free lunch program? Where should we be directing these people to go to provide those answers?
So students, we would encourage them to go to their teacher, particularly at the elementary level, at the secondary level with their principal. Community members, I will ask Greg, could you navigate to the website, please? So this is an outcome of last year's district goals. We wanted to have it's still in progress, a component is still being updated on how decisions are made. But if you go into departments, this is something we share whenever anybody asks a question. We point them to you as well because it's still about communication. If you go under superintendent's office,
I was just going to wonder, there's a search bar there.
there is a chain of command document. This was a goal that is actually a strategic plan item. I communicate this out in a couple updates a year.
Yeah.
This is not just for board, this is for any community.
No, I know, I'm just saying that, you're saying that the contact info is here?
Yes, all contact information. It tells you who to go to, and if you click on it, it'll tell you who, which numbers you should connect. So if you go to food service,
So it should go, so it should go to the food service director.
Where's the contact?
if you scroll up, there should be.
I don't think this is.
Oh, contact information.
Okay, so
You have to click at the top, yeah.
So like a kid has a question about like the spoons.
And now what do you do? I list
At the
out
middle school.
food service,
The teacher.
Claire Carey.
So we need to update that.
Yes. Okay. But like my kid comes to me and she's like, I don't like that the spoons are unwrapped. Do something about it. And I was like, go talk to someone at your school. She's like, who? And I was like,
Any trusted
Question.
adult,
Find out.
when it comes to students, that's easy. Any trusted adult that they have should be willing and able to help them. Always a good chance, always a good option for elementary students is their teacher. If you're a secondary student, your guidance counselor, your teacher as well, so your principal. So those are always the best options for students. For community members, families, best way, and there's a board policy on this as well, is that the best way that we feel that we address questions at the lowest level of the problem possible. And so that's why we provided this, and I'll look to share this out in my next community update as well, as a reminder.
Is there a way, because I see that there is a link on, like, for example, the help desk and online registration. Is there a way to link people's email addresses right there? So if I go to food service and I see right there, oh, I need to contact the food service director, I just click it and it brings it up?
There is a way. It'll take some time to do that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we can definitely explore
Tomorrow.
that tomorrow.
No, just, if, like, as, you know, as now, again, we are looking at that, how we can go from there, but I do agree, there were some community questions, especially as now we've come toward the year. Any other feedback items or anything on goal number 4?
Just to point out that the board policies, we are actually going through the 5,000 series right now in policy committee. So we're going to have a lot of, even tonight, updates on that.
Okay, so anybody have any last thoughts, feedback, questions, comments? Perfect, thank you, team. Moving us on, I'm going to keep us going. We are moving to the consent agenda. Is there anyone who would like to pull anything from the consent agenda? Do you guys have anything you would like to pull from the consent agenda?
Sorry.
No, it's okay, you're good. I just didn't want to have you miss your window of time.
Did you see your eyes?
I did not want you to miss the window of time.
No, we're
I'm
good.
sorry, I think I moved too quickly, so I'm going to start again.
No, we'll move quickly. Go, go, go.
Would anyone like to pull anything from the consent agenda? I'm going to just take a moment to ask a question. I would like to propose a motion to make an addition to the consent agenda.
Second?
Paulin? Oh, no, I'm asking for a motion.
Oh, motion.
To make an addition to the consent agenda.
Second. All in favor?
Do that.
Sorry. The item that I would like to add on is a resolution between the Hendrick-Hudson School District and the HHEA, the Hendrick-Hudson Education Association, that... Okay. It is a memorandum of agreement between these two parties.
The item that is being proposed as an addition to the consent agenda is exploring a retirement incentive as a side letter agreement with the Hendrick Hudson Association, similar to one that was instituted last year, and it's a way for the district to creatively look at staffing and budgetary components of that. So we're asking the board for its, we're recommending the board to adopt this memorandum of agreement.
So at this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda that is both stated on here and in addition to the walk-on item of the resolution between the board and the school district and the HHCA.
Under fiscal.
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
It's going to be placed under fiscal.
It will be placed under fiscal, which is 7.04.
Motion to approve the consent agenda is stated in the walk-on item.
Second?
All in favor? And back over to you, Mr. Trombley, for the superintendent's update.
Thank you, President Sullivan. So, first of all, I have a very short update tonight. And we also, because much of the work of our cabinet level administrators is reflected in our goal update, there will be no cabinet level updates in addition to my update, because the fruits of their labor can be seen in much of our goal status. I hope everybody had an enjoyable and restorative holiday recess, and we're happy to be back in session as we make the turn for the spring and warmer weather, that's for sure. Since the December 6, 2025 Board of Education meeting, at which the board began considering a resolution to allow a first responder tax exemption, the district has established a formal process to gather community input. We discussed this at a previous board meeting. Just as a reminder of that, community members who wish to share their perspectives or ask questions regarding this proposed exemption that the board is being asked to consider. Those community members can visit the district website, click on the Just Ask button located in the upper right corner of their homepage. From there, you can, from the drop-down, select the first responder tax exemption option, which provide access to a fillable form to provide feedback, ask questions about this proposed exemption. Looking at the already submitted feedback, and in order to be transparent to us, the board, but also community who may be listening, I'd like to share a summary of some of the feedback received to date. Many of the respondents who have submitted through that form and in other manners, many of the respondents have expressed strong appreciation and respect for first responders and recognize the vital role that first responders play in ensuring community safety. At the same time, a consistent theme of the feedback submitted raised concern about affordability and the potential impact on the broader tax base, particularly for seniors and residents who experience increasing financial pressures. Several community members also questioned the timing of the proposal, given current fiscal challenges, including budget constraints that we've discussed associated with the continued impact of the Indian Point closure. Other respondents sought clarification regarding eligibility, noting that tax exemptions are governed by New York state law and generally limited to firefighters and ambulance workers. Overall, the feedback that we have received through the Just Ask form and also other means reflects a thoughtful balance between gratitude for service and caution regarding the financial implications for the community as a whole. Just as a reminder, at our next Board of Education meeting on January 20th, the board will hold a public hearing where we encourage our community to come out and express views at that time as well for the board to consider. Because at that same meeting, after that public hearing, the Board of Education will vote on whether or not to adopt the exemption for the following tax year at that same meeting. And again, I mentioned earlier, at our January 20th meeting, we will begin our program budget presentations. Just a reminder of the format, we will kick off with our transportation, facilities, operation, maintenance, and athletics departments. The format, we will ask each of those departments to provide about a 10-minute presentation for each of their areas of oversight, share what they accomplished with the funds that were allocated to their department in the 2025-2026 budget, and share a request of what program additions or changes they would be looking to make. And I say changes because that could be a reduction of program or a change in their program in many terms in the 2026-2027 school year to help continue our board in the budget development discussions. And we also, at every board meeting, when we talk about our program budget, we'll have an opportunity for board discussion on what they just heard. We'll review our parameters in a public forum, and we'll also remind the public of some of our legal parameters around the budget, such as when our budget vote is, how to become a registered voter, and if there should be a contingent budget, what would need to occur then. At this time, there are no questions requiring follow-up in this forum. I want to remind my kids to go to bed. I hope my son's hockey practice at Bear Mountain went well, and that is the update of this time.
Thank you. And as you stated, there are no cabinet updates, which brings us to our committee reports. And I'm going to just see if there's any board members who have any committee reports. But I know we might not have many, given that our last meeting was right before the break, and we are right here, right after the break. I know a lot of us have upcoming meetings within the next 2 weeks, including facilities tomorrow, policy coming up, finance coming up. There's a lot of meetings that are upcoming, but was there anybody who had any committee updates? And I'll start this time on Allison, your side. Any committee updates?
No, we just did
I don't know.
Safety. What did we talked about? Safety committee, new radios, new stuff. It was very brief.
Yeah. Anybody else over there? Any?
Tomorrow's facility, so next time we'll have.
I know there'll be a presentation. So done. Nothing on my end. I'm with you there, and policy again will be in a little bit, and then at our next meeting.
PD tomorrow and finance next week.
I'll have some. Yeah, I was going to say next one will probably be jam-packed because as we started back to the year. Okay, thank you. If you guys think of anything, let me know. So Carmen, audience comments on agenda items. Do we have any? Moving along to board new business and discussions. Is there anything there? Okay.
At this point in time, I'd like to thank the cabinet for their time, their input, and their support this evening, and you are free to go if you so choose, or you may stay for the remainder of the board meeting.
Be quick. We're going to keep.
Thank you.
Can I thank you? Okay, so we are moving on to our policy readings, and we have 4 that we will be reading tonight, and they are all, 3 are second readings, and then we will have 1 that is a first reading to retire. So the first one that we have is the second reading of policy 2245, ex officio student member of the board. The Board of Education believes. Second. All in favor?
This was just our updated wording. This was our updated wording to enhance this program, and the district will be developing regulations to go along with this, and hopefully get more students involved next year.
Anybody have any questions, comments, or feedback on this policy?
Motion to approve policy 2245.
Second. All in favor? So then we have our second reading of policy 5000, student policy goals. Students are the focal point of all.
Motion to waive the reading.
Second. All in favor?
This was a recommended, as we're doing this 5,000 series, this is one of the ones that was recommended that we add, I believe. Yes, this was one of the ones they want that they recommended that we add.
Anybody have questions, comments, feedback, concerns?
Do we have a motion to approve policy 5,000 student policy goals?
Second.
All in favor? Are you making a motion? You're making a motion, okay. Perfect. Okay, and then we have our second reading of policy 5453, student bicycle scooter use. Students will be permitted to ride bicycles.
Motion to waive the reading.
I want to hear about the horses.
5453. Second.
All in favor?
I think we talked about this after. I think just to call out the horse support again. If we had And I think I just want to clarify, this is specifically to get yourself to and from school?
Oh, right, because like, what if we have
What if we have someone, ponies come to school in a presentation by the PTA, or?
Should we add a little comma after the word property and say unless authorized
By the
by
superintendent.
district personnel?
We could do that. You could also argue that the phrasing, the use of horses, right? Are you using horses in the utility way?
Or you're using them to educate.
Correct.
I think we probably need to clarify, so we need to, if we're going to approve this one tonight, we just need to add that line, agree to it with that change,
So the superintendent of schools may.
or their designee.
Decide to
Okay, so we
write.
put a comma after property, and what's the wording that we want?
Or designee.
Unless, or, what were you gonna say, Carmen? 'Cause you're
No, I'm
good at
listening to you
this.
guys, go ahead.
No, I'm
So are
listening to
you
you.
looking to provide the superintendent of schools with the authorization to provide exemptions to this?
If
Yes.
necessary, for educational purposes.
Okay. So
But
I was-
that'll be within your purview.
So at the discretion, this policy may be waived at the superintendent's discretion for educational purposes.
Or
But
his-
just the
or his
horses.
designee.
Nothing else.
Well, you never know, we had the BMX comms, true. So
Oh,
the,
yeah.
at Frank G, to the, we've had,
They better not be on our
this is a real
fields.
thing.
No, like, yeah, right.
They still can't be on our fields, though.
They weren't on the field, they're on the blacktop. Yeah.
Snowmobile Expo comes and
Any questions on this?
nope.
Where we have to approve it with
There,
that.
hold on. So
Yield my
Carmen,
discretion responsible.
I'll update it.
okay, perfect.
I would
So,
like to make a motion to approve policy 5453, student bicycle scooter use, with the amendment to the end about the superintendent or his designee approving the use.
second, all in favor?
So we'll make sure we make that update, and then it will be available on Diligent, and there's always the ability to revise.
So now we look at our first reading to retire policy 6161, conference travel expense reimbursement. School district
Motion to
employees,
waive the reading.
Second,
all in favor?
this one was now wrapped up, tied up into the other policy that we just approved at the last meeting. So it's redundant.
And that one was already approved, correct?
Yes.
So yes, to your point, you can ask to waive the second reading, and then we can,
Motion to waive the second reading of policy 6161, conference/travel expenses.
Second,
all in favor?
motion to approve policy 6161,
retire.
conference travel, to retire conference travel expense reimbursement policy.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, so policy 6161 is officially retired, as it is already in something else that was approved at our last meeting. And we do not need to enter into another executive session, so at this time I would ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn the meeting?